Each year, Microsoft Research hosts hundreds of influential speakers from around the world, including leading scientists, renowned experts in technology, book authors, and leading academics, and makes videos of these lectures freely available.
So now it's really my great pleasure to bring Tony Hay back on stage for a very special part of our program.
Thanks very much, Harold. Yes, it is becoming a tradition of the annual eScience workshop, the presentation of the Jim Gray Award, which is for a researcher who's made an outstanding contribution to the field of data-intensive computing. And first of all, I'd like to say a little bit more about Jim and why we've named an award about him before I give you the identity of this year's Jim Gray Award. So, the Jim Gray Award was established in 2008 as a tribute to Jim, who actually disappeared at sea a year before. Jim was intrigued by the explosive growth in data in science, and he'd been working in databases for many years, and he realized that the big data was not going to be in commercial databases, but in scientific databases, and we'd better learn how to figure it out. And that, actually, he tells me, was the reason he went into astronomy, because astronomy was data of absolutely no commercial value. Right? So you could do anything you like. And those of you who know the biology data, lots of that, but it's complicated to do anything with it. So Jim viewed the accumulation, organization, and utilization of this data as the next step in the evolution of scientific exploration. And that was the reason why he devoted his time to doing eScience. I had a whole series of arguments with Jim from 2001 when I was doing eScience. I thought I lost every single one of the arguments. It was very difficult to win against Jim. But then I got to Microsoft Research purely as a result of interacting with Jim, and I discovered he'd called his research group the eScience Research Group. So I must have had some impact. So what I need to come to is the identity of this year's winner. And this year's winner is Philip Bourne. Yes, that's the Bourne identity. So you were meant to laugh at my joke about the Bourne identity, all right? But let me say just a few words about Phil and why he's this year's honoree, all right? Like me, Phil's a transplant to America. He's actually Australian, where he trained as a chemist. Bizarre, huh? He's now Professor of Pharmacology at the Skaggs School of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences at the University of California, San Diego. And I have to say, when it comes to choosing American climates, he may have done better than me, all right? But he did go via Sheffield in England, which I think I did better in Southampton. Okay, so why is Phil an honoree here? Because Phil, for those of you who don't know, has been a pioneer in open access in bioinformatics and computational biology. And Jim was a passionate believer in open access. He worked with the National Library of Medicine. He believed that we are going to see a revolution in scholarly publishing, and I think he was absolutely right. So Phil was a founding editor-in-chief of the open access journal Public Library of Science PLOS Computational Biology, and he's also been a co-director of the Protein Data Bank, one of the major sites of journals like Nature, for example, if you publish, insist you put your data in the Protein Data Bank or something similar. So a vast sort of protein structure data, and major journals and funding agencies require deposit in that. So it's a key resource, and that's part of the transformation of scholarly publishing, and I'm sure Phil will tell you more about that. He also funded something I find interesting, Sky VTV, where you can have scientists upload videos and lectures, a video of their paper. So you have a scientist saying, you know, what the paper's about. So he's committed to the free dissemination of scientific knowledge through open access models, And he also believes, very much like Jim did, about the need to link textual data to actual scientific data to preserve the scientific record. So it's this work on education, open access and open science that really aligns with the Jim Gray's vision and makes him a really perfect candidate for this year's Jim Gray Award. Phil.
Very good. Would you like to say a few words? I'm afraid I'm going to drop it. I'm sorry. This is indeed a very great honour, and I thank you so much. I have to say I didn't know Jim, and in fact, I didn't really understand the fourth paradigm until relatively recently. Lee Dirks and I were in a meeting in Paris, and there were copies that had just come out, and I just started looking at it on the plane back to San Diego, and I spent, instead of sleeping, which is what I wanted to do, I actually spent the whole time reading this, and I was absolutely moved by the fact that Jim had all the ideas of the things that I was trying to do and had them a long time before. And so right now it's just a matter of trying to fill in some of the gaps. And I've actually decided, even though my main area is pharmaceutical sciences, that the whole idea of dissemination and knowledge and data integration and these kinds of things is where I'm going to spend probably what's not that much of a career that's left. But that's what I want to do, and I'm inspired by this, and thank you very, very much.
Take your award. Take your award.
I actually get to take it home. I didn't know.
And there's also a check, right? So, but that's not coming now. Yes. Well, I should reveal that he was reading the fourth paradigm book, and he should have been an author, but he didn't quite make the deadline. However, I hope that I take that as an agreement that he's going to contribute to Nature Network's fourth paradigm blog. Thank you very much. So, thank you.